15 is problematic. Okay, so the graph, so here we have this graph of 2 to the x, and they're saying the graph of f of negative x will intersect the line y equals c, which they've already drawn at x equals negative b. So f equals negative x. That is a reflection across the y-axis, because this means the x values are multiplied by negative 1. So instead of being here, we are here. Instead of being here, we are here. Instead of being here, we're here, so the graph looks something like this. So where does that intersect? Right here. What are the coordinates of that point? Well, the y value is obviously still c, and the x value is negative b. So that's good. So scratch off anything that doesn't have number 1. So D is gone. Does that work, Brianna, so far? Say no if it doesn't work. I have to re-explain. Yeah, so would you agree that because this negative is inside, it affects the x values? Anything inside the parentheses affects x? Okay, so what am I doing? I'm multiplying by negative 1. So this positive b, which is an x coordinate, goes to negative b. Okay, so this picture comes over here. So the black is this graph. So now let's look at the yellow. The graph of negative f of x. So this means because the negative is outside, it affects the y coordinates. So instead of being positive c, we should be negative c. Instead of being above, we should be below, and we should look something like this. This is a reflection across the x-axis. And this will not intersect the line. So this is wrong. So 2 is out. Alright. And now let's look at this one. The graph of negative f of negative x will not intersect the line. So this means I'm multiplying the x's by negative 1 and the y's by negative 1. So let's first multiply the x's by negative 1. That gives me this black graph. Right? And then from the black, I need to multiply the y's by negative 1. So this point comes here, this point comes here, this point comes here, and my graph looks like this. So blue is negative f of negative x. In other words, I reflected it across both axes, x and y. This graph will not intersect the line y equals c. That's correct. So 1 and 3 are correct. So C. Questions? Repeat. 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 Like sine, cos. What else? What else do you want me to model? Yesenia? So which one? 15? Yep, okay. So 15 says consider these 3 parent functions which are true. You just have to graph it first. You have to graph the parent function. You just got to know the graph. So 1 over x squared is this. Absolute value of x is this. Cube root of x is this. Those are the 3. And that is, now we just got to look at which statements or statements are true. For all 3 functions, if x is 0, y is 0. That is not true for this one. Because here, if x is 0, 0 squared is 0. 1 divided by 0 does not exist. So this is not true for all of them. So 1 is out. These are out. For all 3 functions, if x is greater than 0, that is positive, then y is positive. That's true here, true here, true here. So we're good. C is out. All 3 functions are increasing on the interval 0 to infinity. Let's look. From x goes from 0 to infinity, yep, the y's are getting bigger. X goes 0 to infinity, y's are getting bigger. X goes 0 to infinity, y's are going down. This is decreasing. Does not work. This is out. B is the answer. What else? What else am I modeling? Anything else 1 to 15 people need to see? Leslie?
Can you do number 7?
Yep. The population of a predator at time t can be modeled using sinusoidal model. All right. So let's get the model. So I can do it on either calculator. Doesn't really matter. I'll do it on this calculator this time. So I go to new document. No, I don't want to save. And because I want a regression, I need to put it into list. I'm going to call this x. I'm going to call this y. So the x's are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The y's are 1, 0, 0, 7, 7, 1, 0, 1, 4, 9, 1, 0, 2, 1, 1, 1, 0, 2, 5, 9, 1, 0, 2, 8, 9, 1, 0, 3, 0, 0. So you put the data in, and you go menu, statistics? No, what do I do now? How do I do this? I've even forgotten on this calculator. Statistics, and then what?
That's the calculation.
Okay.
Go all the way to the bottom.
Okay. Sin reg, sinusoidal regression, and the x list was in column x, the y list was in column y. We always said 10 iterations, and we want it to display everything in column C. That's good. Click OK. Sometimes it asks this. This is a variable reference every time. And here we are. So let's write our equation that we get. Y equals 298.7969 times sine of B 0.26, move this over here, 0.26114 x minus 0.00455 plus, what's the D value? 10001.1. Remember, you can always look down here in the purple area to get the full value, 0.165. Now, on the Inspire, you are lucky, because if you go here to, so now we want to get the average rate of change, so AROC equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is equal to, well, the x's are 12 and 9, and these y's, again, come here to add a new document, so add calculator, var f1. The calculator automatically saves that equation as f1. So we want f12 minus f9 divided by 3, so it's negative 69.905, clearly closest to answer choice B. If you had an 83, 84, you would just graph this and then find the average rate of change that way. Brianna, you good? Question? No, Leslie, you have a question. Sorry. Does that make sense? What else? What else am I modeling? You see me? Okay. So number 3 is an interesting question. It says determine the range of this piecewise function. So we're going to graph it here. We know when x is bigger than 0, we have e to the x. That's this. E to the x is exponential. It gets big really fast. They want the range. Range triggers in my head y values. I know it has to go up to infinity. D is out, C is out. The y values clearly go to infinity. D and C are clearly wrong. 3. Now we need to see what happens over here. 3 sine of x. We know any function with sine is periodic. Down, up, down, up, down, up, and so on. The function clearly goes negative, so the range must go to negative, so B is wrong, because B says we stop at 0. E is wrong, because E says we go all the way to negative infinity. We don't, so it must be A. And how do I know that the minimum is negative 3? Because the amplitude here is 3, and the midline is 0. Remember, the formula for amplitude is either max minus mid or mid minus min. Amplitude is 3, midline is 0 minus m. Solve for m, which is the minimum. Add m to both sides, minus 3 on both sides. M equals negative 3. M was the minimum. So we go from negative 3 up to infinity. Tola, Soka Tola. Opposite over Jason. Questions? What else? What else? Again, if you are not with us, totally fine. Continue working. You have plenty of problems to do. What else am I doing? Okay, so with that, let's take the last 10 minutes working independently. Before you go, let me just, one quick announcement. So I'm going to pass back the homework assignments and the journals. You'll get the quizzes back today after school because there's one person who's going to take it after school, so I don't want to release them until they have started.